is the last part of respect, which is the last skill, which has to do with embracing diversity, equality, and inclusion. This is a
Oh,
hot topic, and it's very, very long. You will see that the book, this is the chapter, the longest chapter in the book. Mhm.
oh,
I don't know if you have you read it already?
no,
Or
number nine, not yet.
not? Okay, it's gonna take you longer than the rest,
Mm.
but you will learn so much. And I wanted to include much more, but of course, that's not possible. The book would have been incredibly long. But really, this is a
Okay.
very interesting topic. There are so many things to discuss here because there are many occasions where we see diversity in our workplace. Sometimes we feel it's only okay, a Latin person or a Black person, and it's not about that. It's about many other things that we need to consider. And then we need to consider also what are the things that we do in the workplace to make it equal for everyone, because sometimes we don't even realize, but anyone could feel alone, or could feel someone that is different from the rest, in different
Yeah,
situations.
right.
Once I remember we did a survey with some people, asking in a group, for a workshop, asking them if they were feeling lonely sometimes. And a lot of people were saying, well, I feel lonely when other people in my team speak about, sports, and I don't like sports,
Yeah,
things that you had never thought. But that makes you think that uh, being diverse has a lot of meanings. So let's get into that. Mm.
yeah,
So basically, let's try to see what is diversity, right? Why is it that it's important at work? Basically, it's because that's how diverse people, different people with different generations, that means different ages, different skills, different genders, people with disability, people with different cultures, they have all different ways of working. Mm? So some prefer I don't know, more personal communication. Some are more, they speak with their hands. Some others are more quiet when speaking. Some are afraid of asking questions because their culture says, you are the best. You don't need to ask questions to anybody. You don't need to look weak.
right.
Some other cultures teach people, whatever, always ask questions, always be fresh. Latin people are more open, always to, speak a lot. Sometimes, Americans, for instance, are shorter. They speak with shorter words. Whenever they send an email, it looks like maybe they are angry or something, because they just, say, hey, this is what you have to do, right? And as a Latin, maybe you would do something totally different. You say, hey, how are you doing? How was your life yesterday? And then,
Yeah,
after three paragraphs of introduction, you ask what you need. So that's a cultural change. I imagine you've seen that at work, Patty. What do you
yeah.
say?
Absolutely, I agree with you now. And diversity is like, even like as example, what we both of us is kind of diverse. We both have different backgrounds, okay,
Mm-hmm.
different professionals, basics or background of it, and culture, different culture, different growth, career growth, as well as language, city, country, nationalities. So basically, but at the end, we are working together to through a common goal that we would like to achieve. And this
Mm-hmm.
kind of amalgamations, okay, I will say with it, which is mixing two together to achieve a one direction, one goal.
Yes, yes, that's true. And that's why diversity is good, because you put together people that are different to accomplish this goal, which if you have people that are the same, the goal or the completion of that goal would be totally different. Because
Absolutely.
what can I tell you, or what can I teach you if I'm exactly like you, if I have your same background, if I have your same experience, right? So I tell you my experience from my point of view as a woman, as a Latin, I don't know, as a quality engineer, but with a coach, with writing experience, all those things give you different perspectives, which is what make communication so rich.
Yeah.
But that's very hard for to understand for many people. We usually, because of all the things that we discussed before, because of feeling safe, people prefer to protect people that are like them.
Yeah, yeah. Yes,
So
I
even
agree.
though they may think, well, it's good to learn from someone else. Well, in the end, I prefer to have people like me, and you have friends like you that look alike you, that have same similar background, so that you feel more comfortable. Otherwise, it's a challenge.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. So some of the things to consider, what are the differences between diversity, equality, and inclusion? I don't know if you ever heard about this difference, Fatty, because this is something, all these words are everywhere, but they mean different things. And it's not the same to be diverse as to be equal or to be to have inclusion. Have you ever uh, seen this
Uh,
before?
I've heard about equity is something that I mean, diverse is have a presence of difference of identity, gender. That's it through your That's absolutely valid, understandable. Equity, equality. Oh, equality. Oh,
Yes,
I don't know.
equity or equality is not exactly the same, but basically what they mean is that you make sure that everyone has the same opportunities, but both
I
are
see.
fine, equity or equality. So one thing means that you can have a lot of people in your team. You can have diverse people in your team, let's say people from different cultures in your team, right? That is not meaning that you will have the same opportunities, which is equality, because
Right.
sometimes you may have, and this is what happens very often in the US, for instance. I don't know if in Saudi Arabia we have quotes. So that means that maybe companies need to have X amount of women in management, or X amount of black men in
Uh-huh.
whatever. But the problem is that you have those quotas of maybe of having a certain amount of people in your company, but still the system doesn't help that people grow.
Okay. I see.
Why? Because the leaders continue to be people that are, for instance, white. So they keep choosing people like just like them.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
those
yeah.
people, even though you get, maybe Latins in a group, those Latins are not able to grow. They are not given the same opportunities for various reasons. Maybe again because they are discriminated. Maybe because the ones that are choosing are not like them. Maybe
Right.
they are not heard. Hmm?
Yes, yes.
So, so that's equality. So you can be diverse, but it doesn't mean that you are equal. Hmm?
Right.
And the other thing is inclusion, is how you make people feel valued, leveraged, and welcome in the company. Because sometimes, yeah, you say, okay, so that I can get my numbers well in equality and diversity. So I try to hire 10% Black people, and then I will put one in a leadership position. So that means that I'm fine with my metrics, right?
Right. Right.
But maybe that
Yes.
person, yeah, she was or he was given the opportunity to grow, right? He was put there, but that person is not feeling like he's valued, or is feeling like, no, they just put them there because they were different, which is
Huh?
something that is also very common nowadays, that companies want to
Yes.
force diversity into the company, but that doesn't seem real. So the effect is exactly the same or even worse. Those people want to leave the company because they are not comfortable. Mm.
I've actually recent story about inclusion
Mhm.
here. Okay, we have a consulting manager who's joined us last January. He's a senior in age, Okay, so we are serving a client, and the client of this organization, he's the CEO. They do have a WhatsApp group, and for all of the employees there. And then this gentleman, he joined there. He's very senior in age. The thing is, he is senior in age. They did not give him an office, so he work on any desk wherever. But the question is, when there is a meeting, they don't call him. Okay, they don't ask him, but they how they get the benefit of him. They give him the task that he need to do, but they
Mhm.
don't make him part of the organizations. And then 7 months later, they say to us as a company that they don't like this consultant. And the thing is, he wasn't have an inclusion with this organization from the beginning. So
Right.
how they want that consultant feel to work with this type of client? He's not added to any WhatsApp group. He intentionally get away from the strategic meetings. Okay, and he's a senior in age, so there is lack of inclusions. The one thing, another things is also the resignations. They don't once they welcome people when they join in, but they don't do farewell party when people out.
Hmm.
So feeling good if you are with us, bad when you leave us.
Yes, yes, you have great points there, Fadi. One is that many companies or many organizations like blame the person. So this person, wasn't good enough, or we don't like him, or he's not effective. But the reality is that the system they built didn't invite him to attend those meetings, right? So he was not effective because of that. Because one of the reasons why is they were not including them.
Yeah,
So yeah. So that's why we need to work as a system to see what the company can do first. So it doesn't mean that the person automatically will be included. So it's also just like you said before with psychological safety, right? It's on your both sides. It's not that just the company need to do it or the other person needs to do it, but it needs to be a joint effort to try to work on
right.
that. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Um So what else? I remember you said something else, and I was going to comment on that, but I just
Well, yeah, about that's what I was thinking about the inclusions and things about, okay, example about about equality.
hmm,
Um, well, how I can say that, you touch the points. I think you touch the points by explaining uh, these three. I mean, the last two, equality and inclusions, it's exist in thousands of organizations, thousands, which is the opportunity is not for everyone, unfortunately. I will be
mhm.
in transparent way. There is no inclusions. There definitely in every organization there is an exclusions of certain peoples, which is bad. Okay, but I think this type of concept or phenomena exists on, if not every organizations.
Right. It's not every organization, but most of them nowadays are really lacking that, and especially working remotely. Inclusion is even
Yeah,
more difficult because some people that are
agree. Yes,
shy, they
yes,
they are even more hide away, isolated. So it's a very hard thing that we need to work on. Mm.
agree. Yeah.
So some of the common barriers that we see when we're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion are biased. A lot of people are biased by what they think about that culture.
Yeah,
So they have a thinking in his mind about that person or about that culture, and they just think everyone is like that just because they are from that culture.
sure.
They expect higher performance standards from those people because kind of like they stand out. So as they stand out, they whatever they do right or wrong is shown, or it seems highlighted. And the problem with that is that a lot of people that are underrepresented or in minorities, they suffer the imposter syndrome because they
Yeah.
are all the time forced to perform better, to showcase that no, my culture is no bad. We need to show that we're really good. So if they make a mistake, they feel really bad, like they are underrepresenting their culture. And the others feel okay, yeah, you made a mistake. So it's how I thought you were. I thought you were dumb or your culture is not good enough. And this mistake is proving that. So on both sides, it's hurting both, but the one person that is hurt the most is obviously the minorities, right? They have so much pressure to perform that they are more stressed. And I hear that all the time with a lot of people that I coach. They are minorities, and they feel like they need to work harder than the rest for whatever reason. So
Yeah.
they're all the time stressed, and if they make a mistake, they always feel like, on one hand, they may feel like they are being discriminated, and on the other side, they say, well, I cannot make a mistake, so if I'm making one, it's worse. So they push themselves so much.
Right.
The other problem is that there's lack of support and sponsorship. So when you don't have people like you in leadership positions, then it's also harder for you to grow, right? Like if,
Exactly.
for instance, many times they say, like, if at least there are two women in a group, for instance, or there's a leader that is a woman, that person supports more or helps other women from below grow. Maybe they can be mentors, they can teach them, or they can set a good example. Look, if she could grow there, you can do that too. Mm.
Okay. Okay.
So there's the Zoom ceiling, like we were saying, when we are remote, right? Like the
Yeah.
people that are working from home maybe don't have the same opportunities as the people that work at home, in the office. um, Microaggressions, sometimes when people are not aware of diversity, equality, and inclusion, may say something that can hurt your feelings. For instance, they can say, oh, Fadi, what a great accent. Hmm? So they feel like they are saying something good to you, right? But you may feel hurt. Like, I heard that all the time. Oh, I love your accent. So I do have accent. So, you don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's like, it's always confusing, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, I like the color of your skin, or, I don't know. Those comments that I'm sure that they are not bad intentional, but that drives a lot of, bad feelings on the other side. So we have to be very careful on how we speak, what kind of things may hurt others. And sometimes, again, we don't realize, or we think that the other person is overreacting.
Yeah.
But uh, if we think they are overreacting, it's because we don't understand really what's on the other side. You can never say someone is overreacting because you don't know why they act that way. Some, maybe that in previous jobs they have a very bad experience. I don't want to have that again. So it's a very hard. But the worst part is that you feel like you are the only. You feel isolated. Mm.
Yes. Yes.
Isolation is really, really bad. It's something that's
Yes.
hurting a lot of people. They feel like they have no one to talk to. I mean, sometimes it's in their minds because they do have people to talk to, but
Right.
for some things they cannot be discussed because they don't feel like they share things.
Exactly. Exactly. Agree with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree.
So, have you ever felt loneliness, Patty? Have you ever heard about this?
Have you ever felt only? No. No.
Hmm. Well,
Uh,
that's a good
I
thing.
I didn't feel. I didn't. I haven't honestly. I didn't feel this, whether in whether at work environment or normal life. I haven't. I didn't feel that loneliness.
Hmm. Well, I have felt that various times because, as a woman, many times you are the only in a meeting, or especially in the consulting business, you are the only women, the only young.
Yeah.
Um, many times in quality engineer, I was the youngest, the only millennial, or here the only Latin going to meetings. So I have suffered that many times, and I happen not to care much about it.
Uh-huh.
But of course, it's a challenge because either you call too much the attention or nobody pays attention to you. They now maybe they don't take you seriously. And for instance, for coaching or consulting at the very beginning was really hard for me because they were expecting a man, in their 50s or 60s with a lot of experience, gray hair, and they were getting a woman young, and they said, no, I mean, how can this woman help me? There's no way.
Yeah.
So that's because of the bias, right? So those are the things that you feel you're the only in a group doing that, which you have to fight with that psychologically to not feel unsafe. So usually the feeling is that it's your voice versus their voice, right? But this is when you have a me thinking, right? I have to win or she has to win. So when they feel like whatever I'm saying is threatening them because it's me versus them, that's when loneliness is bad and it hurts the company. But you can also have a we understanding, which is kind of what we're been discussing all these days, is that your voice is unique and is as important as their voice. So that's kind of what we need to find out or we need to promote in our companies, right? It's not that we need to compete because she is different or she's offering something different. It doesn't mean that we are bad. It means that
Right.
we can, as you said before, melt or
Yeah.
mix those things and take advantage of that unique voice and raise it, be open. And sometimes you could be the only one, but sometimes you could be maybe if I invite you to a team of women, right, you will
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
the only one. And that's where we also have to be open to listen. Whenever you are a majority,
Hmm.
try to work on open to the minorities. So Fadi, please, tell me
Exactly.
what you're saying. So invite that person to speak because that person can have more difficulties speaking up.
Absolutely. Yes.
Mhm. So what can you do? On one hand, acknowledge there is a problem, acknowledge that this is real, that diversity is real, and there's a lot of people that could feel only in your team. Try to listen to them, never underestimate them, never think that they are overreacting. Always try to see what they're feeling, how they're feeling, what they need, and speak about it. Okay. And the other thing is taking action, right? If maybe you need to call the attention to someone that is not being careful about that, maybe you need to train them. Maybe you need to see how you can reduce biases or install certain systems in the company so that you can promote diversity. Basic things, for instance, seeing where you look for people. There's a website that is called the Mom Project where you can look for moms that need to work, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to increase the women in your company, maybe that's a way where you can do that. Just going to the same LinkedIn or the same ways of hiring may not work. You may need to look for something else. Mm.
Right.
Also, you can look for ways of how your salaries are, understand if you're paying more to women or men, or if you're paying more to the majorities and not to the minorities, and see how you can start changing that. Because the bias is unconscious, really. You don't even know how, but you will always try to pick people like you. So you always commit the same mistake. And
Right.
everyone in the company makes that again. So you always need to track and keep asking for people to, be aware of that.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And there are a lot of benefits of that. One is that, for instance, racial diverse companies are more likely to have financial returns at about 35%. So it's a huge difference.
Hmm.
But there are many reasons for this. But one of them is, of course, you can be more innovative. You have more people a bigger pool or to choose from for your employees. Uh,
Yeah.
Different people can understand different customers, so you have a broad, customer experience. So there are many reasons, but you also, for instance, spend less money looking for people. People may come to you, or they will resign less often. So there are a lot of benefits. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So for instance, here are some examples, of this is an email I received once from Amazon when I bought this hammock. And it looked to me so innovative, right? Like this is what they say. I mean, it was it was really crazy to receive this kind of emails. I never received anything like that before. And I
Yeah.
relaxed your in chief. In a galaxy far away, your hammock has been taken, by the relaxing engineers. So I thought, this is something probably from, someone that was innovative, that was invited, or eager to do something different, and was allowed to do that, right? So we
Uh-huh.
always have to welcome this kind of things, but they are very rare. We tend, again, to be very classical, to
Right.
try to, don't risk that much. But this could actually be amazing
Yes.
if we
Yes, it
could
is.
be more, diverse in thinking. Mhm.
Nice.
So some of the benefits, like I mentioned before, you will have increased psychological safety for everyone. Um, because if you are more diverse, people feel more comfortable. They the people that suffer this know are usually more understanding about these things.
Hmm. Hmm.
When you talk to other people that are minorities, they know what it is about, and they are less likely to treat you like they are not a minority. you know
Yes, it is. Agree with you.
so because they understand, that's how they felt all of the time, so they know how to deal with that. So
Right.
that
Right.
increases the psychological safety of the teams.
Yeah.
You bring more points of view, that brings more innovation, you increase the talent pool, you strengthen customer orientation, you improve decision making too, because you have other options. You have
Exactly.
different points of view, things that you would never have thought about before. Mm? Uh,
Exactly.
and of course, another thing is that you could enhance the company image, because companies are known by being diverse, or by welcoming different. For instance, there are many companies that are they are not publicly saying it, but they are LGBTQ plus, friendly. Maybe
Hmm.
because their leaders are that way, or maybe because they're. I remember one. I have a friend who
Uh-huh.
is gay. He has a company where 50% of his employees are gays, and it's kind
Oh.
of, yeah, it's just happened to be that way,
Yeah.
because it's not that like he looks for those things, but
Right.
considering that he is, he showcase, or maybe whenever they get into the company, they feel comfortable, they feel like, nothing is different here. um they are inviting others, just not
Okay.
not on purpose, but it's like they will feel more comfortable, the ones that come. So you,
Okay.
again, are opening your talent pool, and the company image is also, improved. Mhm.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So the other thing that is very important is, like, and you said this before, Fari, is that the diversity, the equality and inclusion has to be included across the entire employee experience. So it's not only, for instance, I mentioned right now, when recruiting, right? Whenever you have like people, or you have already minorities in the company, it's easier to recruit those that are also minorities. But it's also about how you make them feel welcome during the onboarding, how you
Yes.
help them network, or not just be siloed, in their homes, from the computer, right? How you
Right.
drive events so that they feel included, how
Mhm.
you help them perform well, how you evaluate them, how you give them opportunities to grow, how
Uh-huh.
you reward them. Are you always rewarding the same people or putting the same in the highest standards, or you're also helping others be rewarded? Mm.
Sorry,
What
what is the abbreviation of DEI?
diversity, equality, and inclusion.
Ah, okay, okay. I see. Got it.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, And then, like you said, departing, right? How you
Yes.
understand why someone left the company and how you can promote everything, how you can see what you missed and what you can do to improve. Mm. So
Right.
basically, all the things that we have been discussing, all those skills need to be applied to all the instances of the employee experience, because if you just focus on one, on the recruiting, then whenever they grows in the company, you forget about that. And the
Yeah.
employees forgets about it and just leaves the company. So you have to constantly remind the employees, or adjust the processes so that you are fair all around, so that you make them feel safe in all those stages. You know uh it's part of how you change your system so that you're fair everywhere and every
Sure.
time.
Sure. Sure.
Mhm. So to summarize, the me culture is about diminishing others for personal advantage, perpetuating barriers to the eye to keep the power. So it's better if we don't give opportunities to others so that we keep winning, or we keep being there, right?
Yes.
So of course, whenever I don't know, women grow in government, we are taking opportunities from other men, right? But
Exactly.
everyone has the chance and need to have a chance. Mm.
Right. Absolutely.
So we culture is about fostering inclusivity throughout the entire employee experience, using individual differences as strengths, actually known as weaknesses or things they need to adjust and change. It's not that they need to adjust. Maybe we need to listen to what they have to offer. Promote diverse development and also reduce microaggressions or things that we just say that are not right.
Yeah. Yeah. Very.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts so far?
Well, I love in this one, like fostering inclusivity. I think employee experience. This is very important
Mm.
point at organizational level for inclusions. I love it in the we culture characteristics. One more thing is, especially now in this slides, as we take care of the way of recruiting, but we should not forget, once we grant an offer to an employee or whoever the person is, we should maintain the great relationship and experience, whether for onboarding and exit. Unfortunately, there is maybe I'm wrong, but I think if we evaluate organization how to people exit, a lot of them, they have tragic stories. Okay, different things. And if we think about it, that's very normal habits that happen in everywhere. So we should really smile enough and wish the best for whoever the employee leaving, because that will impact on the organization's level among the community.
Yes. Yeah, that's very true. I remember the other day someone told me, well, I don't want to propose any ideas for improvement here because, the other day that person, he offered ideas, so then he was invited to leave the company.
Okay.
So, you don't know if that's connected or not, but why some people leave could be the reason why others leave or why others are withholding information.
Exactly.
So it's interesting.
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
This is the next slide. Okay.
Oh, um, the next one is an exercise that you can do with people from your team. That you can make them play if you can,
Yeah.
and try to see if you have two teams, and you can define different assign different roles like a timekeeper, a designer, engineer, maybe a motivation specialist to choose rewards so that they work better. Those are the for more importance at least. And then you can have observers and make them build the bestseller product ever, and see how they work, how the different teams work in a different way, what kind of rewards they are getting, what kind of things they are doing, and how they are respecting each other, how they are listening to each other, and see if there are any biases, any if ideas are being respected. Maybe the engineer thinks that they have all the answers, or are the designers being listened to or not? What the different personalities or the different backgrounds of those working. So the observers then, after some, you can define 5-10 minutes, whatever.
Yeah.
But once they finish, you need to ask the observers to see what they saw, to say, what they observed, if there were any differences, if the people were able to listen, or were able to talk, and things like that, and see how they felt about it. So it's an
So
interest.
you mean per person, or group, like design? You mean designer, engineer, etc. So is every group need to sell an idea, or every person?
Right. Two groups, and each group needs to sell a different idea. And each
Okay.
group will have a timekeeper, a designer, an engineer, and motivation specialist. But there will be observers that will be seeing both groups.
Okay, I see, I see, I see. So the
Mhm.
group should compose of those type of those 4 or 5 functions.
Exactly. Yes. It's kind of being diverse, but with function, not with something in particular, like
Yeah,
race or
yeah,
anything like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
it's also to notice that diversity comes also with knowledge. So it could be maybe they are white, but they all have different backgrounds.
Sure,
And some backgrounds are more, rewarded than others, or
sure.
I don't know. You
Yeah,
can see, and maybe you can apply all the things that you learn in the other chapters in this nice exercise, and see what
exactly.
happens
Very
there.
nice. That's nice. Sure. We'll do it. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Very
Okay.
well.
Any
So,
questions, Patty, so far? Any questions about the
no,
chapter?
this is going. I think it's exciting chapter. I didn't
Mm.
start reading chapter 9 yet, but I
Yeah.
would love to. And I need to read it to digest it more, I think. So that's great. I don't have any questions, and I think we are doing very well. Very well.
Yeah, you'll find
Um,
a lot of information about women, about different generations, about
okay,
different genders, about disability. So
okay,
there's so
okay.
much to learn. Hmm.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, sure.
Okay.
Great, great. Thank you
Well,
for
thank
today.
you for today. Thank you too.
Great.
We'll meet Friday again.
Friday. Yes, yes.
And we will start with the next dimension, the last one, which is empowerment.
Okay.
So please try to read all the chapter 9 to see if you have any questions about that respect dimension. Then we continue with this one.
Sure, we'll do that. We'll do that. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Luciana, for today.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye. Thanks a lot.